quorum before we move forward. So everyone please sit tight in these crowded chambers.
Madam Chair, I think we do have quorum, don't we?
Well, with you there, yes, we do now, ma'am. Thank you. With that, I then would like to call this meeting to order. And clerk, will you take the roll?
Carrasco, Perales, Mahan,
Here.
Esparza,
Here.
and Foley.
Here.
Thank you.
And Councilman Perales is here as well.
Okay.
Thank you. Before we begin, I'd like to remind the committee and members of the public to follow our code of conduct at this meeting. This includes commenting on the specific agenda item only and addressing the full body. Public speakers will not engage in a conversation with the council members or staff. All members of the committee and staff and the public are expected to refrain from abusive language. Repeated failure to comply with the code of conduct, which will disturb, disrupt, or impede the orderly conduct of this meeting, may result in removal from the meeting. As I already said, I call this meeting to order, and so let's move on to the first agenda item, which is a review of the work plan. Rosalind, would you like to comment on the work plan?
Certainly. Thank you, Chair Foley. So staff is requesting to defer one item. This is the Parks Development Impact Fee Study that was scheduled to provide a status update today. Unfortunately, staff did not receive the information from our consultant in order to provide that update. So we are recommending this be deferred into next year's work plan, and we're actually targeting April 24th of next year for that status report.
Great. We do need a motion to move this item from the work plan from today to be heard on April 24th.
So moved.
Second.
I heard the second. I didn't hear the motion. Was that Councilmember Mahan who? Okay, thank you very much. Then I don't know if we have any members of the public with hands raised. We do. We have Paul Soto is the first caller.
Yes, thank you, Paul Soto from the Horseshoe. I have an objection for this item being deferred. It's critically important to the development, to the developers coming to the city and being able to pay park fees, in lieu park fees, to kind of like have exemptions from being held responsible for a particular acreage of parks, whether it be a half, quarter, whatever it is that what we've done is we've created this system that allows developers to pay fees, and thusly they are not held responsible or accountable. I'm tired of being, for our system, to be beholden to a developer. This is my city. Okay, and it is your responsibility, every single one of you, to make sure that the red line policies that have happened in this city are ameliorated and amended, that every single one of your policies should be in alignment with the red line map, because it is the measure by which we have been treated with inequity, period. Okay, so to think that you're going to get some consultant, some dude in some office in some other city that's going to come to my city and try to start telling me what's going to happen in my city? No, that's not going to happen. So what I'm demanding from you, and this is a demand because you work for me. We don't do your bidding. This isn't top down. This is from the people up. Okay, and so we need to start getting really familiar with that kind of process. We tell you what to do, and then you go ahead and you do it. That's it. I don't want to hear no consultant. We don't need no consultant. We don't need nothing. We got the red line map of 1939. We start using that as the measure to determine these parks, to determine land use issues, because we need to start moving away from these consultants.
Blair? Hi, thank you for the words of Paul Soto. That was informative and helpful for me. Thank you. And thank you that as a council, you took the time to notice the need for public comment for this item and asked for it. Just a thanks a lot for doing that for an item that's being deferred. Thank you.
Thank you. Back to council for the committee for the vote.
Carrasco,
Aye.
Perales,
Yes.
Mahan,
Aye.
Esparza,
Yes.
and Foley.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next item is a report to the committee. That is the Economic Development Activities Quarterly Status Report. I understand we have Elizabeth Handler on Zoom. And I also understand, Elizabeth, that you're retiring soon and that you've actually moved out of the area already. Is that correct?
Yes, I am. I am remote.
Well, I'm very excited for you to be retiring. As some of us get a little bit older, we look at that retirement years and we think that looks kind of nice. So congratulations to you that you're able to do that, and thank you so much for the many years of service that you've given to the city of San Jose and our residents.
Well, thank you very much. I'm not sure that I'm sharing the right screen. Could you let me know if I am or not?
We are. We're ready for your report now.
Okay, good. And just a point of order, Madam Chair. I'm not really retiring. I'm still going to be working as a freelance in order to support my lavish Southern California lifestyle. But thank you for the good wishes. I really appreciate it. All right, so this has been an extremely active and exciting quarter for Office of Economic Development and Cultural Affairs. We're starting with the opening of the Quetzal Gardens, which opened in October and was very well attended by representatives from the city. Councilmember Carrasco was there, as well as the mayor and plenty of other representatives of city departments. The Small Business Center in East San Jose in Quetzal Gardens is a really critical element to the recovery for the small businesses on the east side of San Jose. And we were very excited to be able to give it a roaring send-off, along with exciting ice cream handed out by the council member and others. We also held the second flea market meeting this year, which was another update to the vendors on how the city has been progressing on developing the plans for the transition for the flea market, which could happen as soon as July of 2024. And we had about almost 200 vendors attending the meeting, and we were able to introduce them to the 2 consultants that have been hired to help with the creation of the advisory committee and the charter for helping to disperse the transition fund. We also were excited to get highly creative this city in October, when Office of Cultural Affairs debuted, or didn't debut, but reprised the October We Create 408 and the exciting kind of invitation to members of the public to show their creative selves with daily cues on creative endeavors that they can undertake and then post on the website. It was an exciting bunch of things that you can see on the website right now. Manufacturing Week in October, we are featuring a guest blog post from one of our Santa Clara University fellows. And we worked with Manufacturers San Jose to host a series of tours for high school students at some of our local manufacturing facilities. And that was a bunch of high schools were involved, and a bunch of manufacturers. And it's always very exciting to see those 2 groups kind of meet each other and learn a lot on both sides. Work to Future also held an extremely successful job fair, which had hundreds of attendees and more than 70 companies participated. And they included VTA, Farmers Insurance, Hertz, San Jose Police Department, Teledyne, Bloom Energy, and was very successful. We also were excited to be able to share the news that Team San Jose had won a very prestigious marketing award for the Marketing Promotions with a Purpose. And this was the San Jose Love campaign that Team San Jose fielded during the pandemic when we had no tourism, essentially, and very little travel, but they promoted tourism within the city, which is actually something that we're continuing right now. As you'll see behind me, we just launched the Holiday San Jose, where we're inviting people to go visit 12 different neighborhoods in San Jose. But that item didn't make it into this report, unfortunately, because we held the event on the 18th of November. Also, we have a couple of guest blog posts on news that impacted our business community. First is from the Department of Transportation. The speed limit is being lowered in some important downtown and other business areas in San Jose, thanks to a new state law. The areas include parts of downtown, Calle Willow, and Evergreen Village Square. And we're hoping this will help to reduce the pedestrian incidents that we've been unfortunate enough to suffer through recently. And finally, also, we have news from the clean energy folks, which is a very important rebate program for small businesses who are interested in retrofitting from gas to electric. It's a very, very generous rebate program. And we are encouraging all small businesses that are currently using natural gas to check this out and apply for this program. And that concludes my report. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. First, turning to members of the public, do we have anyone with their hands raised?
Blair Beekman.
Hi, Blair Beekman here. The ideas of reimagined health and human services, openness, and accountability practices can very much help in how to consider our local economy and help organize a good transition from 2023 into the good future of 2024 and 25 and beyond that we are all hopeful for. I hope 2023 can be a year we can all learn to work better together and listen to each other more. Creative, progressive, good ideas can more easily develop within our local communities in these good terms. Good luck to ourselves in 2023. Thanks.
Paul Soto.
Yes, thank you, Paul Soto from the Horseshoe. I didn't hear anything about COVID recovery in terms of like what that looks like. We're still going to be dealing with that. And so that is an indicator that we can use within the context of this conversation. So what I'd like to see is like a separate, like how you have a separate SQL report when you add that to one of your memos, that an assessment of COVID recovery within the context of economic development be used, because we're not out of the woods, and we're not going to be out of the woods in terms of economic recovery because of COVID for a long time. And that COVID recovery marker be used by area code, that we determine what areas of the city are recovering and what areas of the city still need some work. I think those measures would tell us more overall the health of our city. You mentioned, secondly, you mentioned something about 12 places. Once again, I proudly was able to get Sacred Heart Church and the building that was the first headquarters of Lowrider magazine, both on Willow Street, historical landmark status. That's my work. That has my fingerprint all over it. Okay, and the city isn't acknowledging that. The city isn't acknowledging the legitimacy of my work. And I'm actually creating San Jose history. Creating San Jose history. I discovered a Cesar Chavez home that was unknown to a lot of elders. 195 Wabash Avenue. It was on the west side, and that was the place where he found. So I hope within the context of this conversation, I hope you add all of these addresses: 282 Willis Street, 395 Willis Street, and 195 Wabash. Because Paul Soto was the one that put those on the map, which is putting the Chicano movement and the Chicano history back on the map. Thank you.
Back to the committee.
Thank you. Is there a motion from council members or does anyone wish to make any comments? If not, is there a motion to accept the report?
Motion to accept.
Second.
Thank you. Please take the roll.
Carrasco,
Aye.
Perales,
Yes.
Mahan,
Aye.
Esparza,
Yes.
and Foley.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next report is the Team San Jose and Convention and Visitor Bureau Report Annual Review, which is the audit report presented by Joe Royce. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Joe Royce, City Auditor. I'm here with Michelle Malari from my office. We're here to present our audit of Team San Jose's performance for fiscal year 21-22. Since 2004, the San Jose McHenry Convention Center and several other city-owned facilities have been operated on the city's behalf by Team San Jose Incorporated. Additionally, since 2009, Team San Jose has operated the San Jose Convention and Visitors Bureau. The City Auditor's Office, under the terms of the management agreements between the city and Team San Jose, is required to perform an annual performance audit to determine whether and how well Team San Jose met agreed-upon performance targets that are the basis for an incentive payment from the city. One quick note, Team San Jose reports COVID-19 has had a large impact on its activities, and while events were allowed to resume at the end of July of 2021, the organization reports that the emergence of the Delta and Omicron variants and the city's vaccination mandate for city-owned facilities introduced new operational and sales challenges. For example, Team San Jose cited group cancellations and canceled room nights as difficulties during fiscal year 21-22. They also noted that event attendance and consumer confidence were impacted because of COVID-19. Despite these challenges, Team San Jose met its weighted incentive fee scores and Convention and Visitors Bureau performance targets in fiscal year 21-22. Team San Jose far exceeded its target in gross operating results, booked over 101,000 hotel room nights, had an estimated economic impact of over $34 million, held 379 days of events at the cultural facilities, and received 100% satisfaction ratings on its customer service surveys. And as a result, Team San Jose met its weighted incentive fee target and qualifies for the incentive fee of $250,000. We do not have any recommendations in this report. We also do not have a management response. Any feedback we received during the course of the work has been incorporated into the body of the report. I ask that you accept the report and cross-reference the December 13th meeting of the full City Council. I'm happy to answer any questions. And representatives from Team San Jose are here as well on Zoom if you have questions for them. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. We do have one hand raised. Paul Soto.
Yes, Paul Soto from the Horseshoe. I just want to compliment Team San Jose on your work. Not only do you do the work within the context of the convention centers and visiting, a lot of your food and a lot of your organization goes to the homeless sector and people that are experiencing poverty. And so I just want to compliment your organization for what you do. And for the service that you provide for people that for a myriad of reasons cannot provide for themselves, or that you are just supplementing things that they could provide for themselves, but it leaves money for them so they don't have to pay for food. They're able to pay for other things that they may need. And so I just want to thank you for providing that service to my city.
Thank you. Next speaker is Blair Beekman.
Hi, thank you, Blair Beekman. I'll make this simple and quick. ACLU technology and data collection, openness and accountability guidelines, practices, and legal precedents can be of much help to the work of Team San Jose, the Convention Center, and how to help better invite people to visit San Jose in the future. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Moving to the committee, does anyone in the committee have any questions, comments, or wish to make a motion to accept the report cross-reference to the City Council meeting December 13th?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? I see no hands raised, so let's vote.
Carrasco,
Aye.
Perales,
Yes.
Mahan,
Aye.
Esparza,
Yes.
and Foley.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Very thorough and brief report this time. Moving on to the next report, which is the Affordable Housing Siting Policy Status Report. I understand we have Jackie on Zoom, but Rachel is here to make the presentation. That's not Rachel. Sorry, Rachel, I'm missing my glasses.
All right, well, good afternoon, Chair and committee members. I'm Rachel Vanderveen, Deputy Director of the Housing Department, and I'm joined here today by Kemet Mawakana, our Division Manager, and Josh Ishimatsu, our Senior Development Officer with the Housing Policy Team. And as you mentioned, Jackie Morales-Friend, our Director, is joining via Zoom. We are here today to bring back our recommendations related to the Affordable Housing Siting Policy. The siting policy determines where city funding is prioritized for the construction of new affordable housing. Over a year ago, we discussed this policy, and since then, we've worked to strengthen its effectiveness. We've heard the community and shape the policy in a new way, ensuring we both expand opportunities for low-income families and continue to invest in neighborhoods throughout our city. This policy now represents the best of both worlds. It incentivizes development of affordable housing in areas previously excluded and strategically invests in all other areas of our city. I will now turn our presentation over to Josh.
Thank you, Rachel. First slide, please. Oh, sorry. A big reason why we need the siting policy is about the history of racist policies in our past in our city. This first slide is the infamous redlining map of the city of San Jose, created by the Homeowners Loan Corporation, or HOLC, in 1937, where racial and ethnic composition of neighborhoods was used to determine which neighborhoods were appropriate for housing investment, where red areas of the map were quote unquote hazardous or undesirable, and green areas were the most desirable for investment. For most big cities, you can show the redlining map, and it is obvious how past racist policies influence the landscape of what we see today. But for San Jose, it's a little bit more complicated. It's a slightly different story, though no less racist. So this map, the redlining story of San Jose is different because the redline version of San Jose is only a small portion of the current city limits. So this map shows how the historically redlined portion of the city, which is at roughly the center of the map, is only a small part of the total current city area. And this is because San Jose grew through annexation and subdivision following World War II. From 1950 to 1980, San Jose added almost 200,000 housing units. And these 3 decades constitute a growth spurt that made up the majority of growth in the city. It's a time when the city's most of the city's housing stock was built. And so this is a definitional period of time for the city in terms of the built environment. It's why, for example, of all the big cities in the United States, we have a higher proportion of single-family housing, and why we have more of our residential land than any other big city dedicated to single-family uses than any other major American city. And this growth spurt happened during a time across the country when most big cities, San Francisco, Oakland, all the cities in the Midwest and the Northeast, were losing population as white households moved from the central cities to the suburbs. This suburbanization, as documented by Richard Rothstein's The Color of Law, was explicitly racist and was enacted by and supported by a whole host of institutions and actors, public and private, federal, state, local, and including locally, the city of San Jose. And the investment for the suburbanization was massive. On top of all the mortgages for the housing, there were also new infrastructure, new roads, new schools, new utilities, waste treatment facilities, sewer lines, et cetera. So in contrast to the historic growth of the city outside of the central core, affordable housing development has generally happened in the center of the city. So this map, affordable housing sites are represented by dots on the map, and there's a greater density of dots in the center of the map, and actually, even more than that, there are dots upon dots, so it's hard to see like just how dense the dots are at the center of the map. But generally we have an older central core, which accounts for the majority of our affordable housing, and then some more clusters of housing in the center of the east of the map, and also along main transit lines, especially the light rail. But also, as you can see, there are lots of blank spots on the map. Generally, and as we'll talk about more during the presentation, affordable housing has reinforced the patterns of investment and disinvestment in the city, with affordable housing being developed in parts of the city that were already lower income and majority communities of color. And, parts of the city that have historically benefited from higher levels of investment, there has not been the same level of siting of affordable housing. So this is one big argument for why we need something like the siting policy. This is the history of our city. We grew through a combination of racist and exclusionary policies and practices, restrictive covenants, redlining, discriminatory lending practices, and exclusionary zoning policies. So the siting policy is an attempt to address some of this past history, an attempt to put more affordable housing in the neighborhoods which have historically excluded affordable housing. And I'll now turn over the presentation to Rachel.
Thank you, Josh. The siting policy applies to the location of new permanent deed-restricted affordable housing financed by the city of San Jose. Where the siting policy does not apply to temporary shelters or to affordable homes created through the inclusionary housing ordinance or interim housing. You can see here images of affordable housing funded by the city, and in this case, this is what the siting policy would apply to. As we talk about the siting policy, it's important to keep in mind the household incomes served by affordable housing. A family of 4 in Santa Clara County, the median income is $50,550 for extremely low income household, and $84,000 for very low income. These levels are significantly higher than the poverty threshold as defined by the federal government, which is just over $27,000 for a family of 4. The goals of the siting policy are threefold. First, to expand choice to low-income households by building affordable housing in neighborhoods where these homes have been excluded over time. This is consistent with both California and federal fair housing law. Second, the policy will mitigate displacement by providing affordable homes for residents wanting to remain in their own neighborhoods. And third, the siting policy will be transparent to developers and easy to administer by staff. When the citing policy was presented to the City Council in 2021, there were specific items that the City Council asked staff to research further. The prior recommendations include 3 neighborhood categories, with Category 3 defined as census tracts with a high rate of crime or poverty. The City Council asked staff to consider changing the criteria for defining Category 3 neighborhoods in 3 different ways. First, to consider defining crime by census block rather than census tract. Second, tracking crime rates at the 90th percentile versus the 95th percentile. And third, by defining neighborhoods by income only, eliminating crime from the analysis. Staff explored all of these options, which are actually represented in this map. Staff considered measuring crime on the census block level. The census block is a smaller level of measurement where typically 3 census blocks make up 1 census tract. Using census block for tracking crime is not reliable due to the methods of reporting crime. Using the census block level to measure this data is not being recommended due to the unreliability of data at this level. Second, staff explored moving the threshold for census tracts for crime to be set at the 90th percentile rather than using the 95th percentile. Making this change doubled the number of census tracts that would be included in Category 3 neighborhoods, further restricting much needed affordable housing across our city. And finally, staff considered limiting the analysis to income data only. This concept is used by the federal government to consider where to invest federal dollars in housing programs. Staff did consider this option and wove this concept into our recommendations today. The next request City Council had for staff was to analyze the notice of funding availability based on the citing policy framework. So in December 2021, the city released $150 million through a notice of funding availability process. 11 developments were approved to be funded, adding up to over 1,200 affordable apartments that would become a part of our community. What we learned from this process is that 16% of the developments awarded are in affordable housing expansion areas. And we had a strong response in all of the developments providing family housing, which was also something we were incentivizing through our process. Also, all awarded NOFA projects included supportive housing units. And another thing we learned is that 8% of the supportive housing units were located in affordable housing expansion areas. The City Council also wanted to ensure that the housing element included enough sites in the affordable housing expansion areas for new affordable housing development. And what we found is that there are 96 sites in the affordable housing expansion area, and we feel that this is adequate to support the recommendations of the citing policy. As we previously proposed in our citing policy recommendations, we heard from our residents and community advocates a concern about the language used in the policy and its potential impact on neighborhoods. We reflected on the proposed language to describe neighborhoods, and we thought about the impacts of those results. We understand words have power. This awareness has brought staff to reflect, revise, and understand how labels such as distressed places or struggling neighborhoods or high crime areas or any such combination of deficit plus geography to describe communities impacted by racism, disinvestment, physical destruction, and economic exclusion are impactful and potentially harmful. Labels not only apply to the communities where people live, but to the people themselves. Such language reduces our communities to only their challenges while concealing the systemic forces that cause these challenges, and also masking the solutions that we need to combat them. This map is from the Opportunity Atlas, which is a product of a Harvard economics professor. This research underpins the basis for the siting policy. What we learned from this is that where you grow up determines how much income you earn as an adult. So this is one reason why the siting policy is an attempt to provide an economic benefit, and opportunity to the children who live in the future affordable housing development. I will now turn the presentation over to Kemet to share our recommendations for the siting policy.
Good afternoon. I would now like to share with you the staff's updated recommendations for the siting policy. We are recommending 2 neighborhood areas: affordable housing expansion areas and continued investment areas. Affordable housing expansion areas, the dark blue on the map, is defined as scoring in the top 40% of census tracts in the Bay Area based on an index of place-based factors such as access to jobs, strong educational outcomes, and positive environmental health rating. This is consistent with the maps used by the state to award tax credits and multifamily housing revenue bonds. Continued investment areas, the area you see in light blue on the map, are the areas that do not meet the previously discussed definition. What we know is that if you calculate the percentage of population living in the city, 34% of our residents live in affordable housing expansion areas, while 66% are living in continued investment areas. At the same time, only 9% of our existing affordable housing is located in affordable housing expansion areas. This number is reflective of patterns of exclusion within San Jose, while over 90% of all affordable housing is located in continued investment areas. The affordable housing siting policy establishes a goal of 35% of all new affordable homes in affordable housing expansion areas. This is the core goal of the affordable housing policy. I do want to note that making change in this context is challenging and slow. Based on modeling of future funding, after 5 years of placing 35% of new homes in the affordable housing expansion areas, it will result in 12% of the overall affordable homes in affordable housing expansion areas. That's 12% up from the 9% that we currently stand at. Staff is also recommending that proposed developments in specific areas will require further review prior to funding. The 2 criteria for these specific areas are: if the census block area has 50% or more of the homes are deed restricted affordable, or if the census tract has more than 20% of the households living below the poverty threshold. Even where further review is triggered, we may allow affordable housing to move forward. Developments located in areas of further review will move forward if one of the following 4 criteria are met. The neighborhood is identified as an area facing displacement. The site is located in a growth area. The development is a mixed income development. Or the site is located in an area included in a funded community development investment plan. The siting policy will be evaluated on a 5-year basis. The analysis will include all affordable housing, including developments that were not financed or funded by the city. The evaluation will begin after the 25-26 fiscal year and we'll use various performance indicators to track the success. The staff recommendation evolved since last year. I would like to take a moment to explain why these changes were made. First, the prior recommendations included a third neighborhood category that essentially limited housing choice in certain areas, while the new recommendation focuses on expanding choice. Second, the prior recommendation contributed to the negative stereotypes of affordable housing and unintentionally used language that harmed low-income neighborhoods. The updated recommendation focuses on investment in all parts of the city, including those areas where disinvestment has occurred over time. Third, the prior recommendation lacked consensus around the criteria used in the policy to define crime, while the new policy recommendation is based on income data consistent with research and federal policies. We would also like to bring forward a recommendation to invest not only affordable housing dollars, but also community development block grant funds, which provide investment in the city towards projects like streetlights, community gardens, and library facilities that all come together to build a healthy, vibrant neighborhood. We are recommending that these funds be prioritized in areas that are defined by the Department of Housing and Urban Development as recap areas or racially or ethnically concentrated areas of poverty. This investment will help reverse historic patterns of disinvestment. I want to note, we recognize that place-based strategies have limitations. In the coming year, staff will work with the community to identify solutions to find ways can also address any underserved communities that are not direct beneficiaries of this place-based approach. Finally, I would like to highlight the recommendation made to you as the committee today. Staff is recommending you accept the report and cross-reference this item to the full City Council on December 6th. And I will turn it back over to my colleague, Rachel Vanderveen.
Thank you, Kevin. I would like to thank the tremendous team that worked over the past year and a half to develop the citing policy. I want to recognize Jackie Morales-Ferrand for her leadership in recognizing the need to do this work and her dedication to our community and their voices. I also want to thank Dan Rinsler from California Housing Partnership, his colleagues at the Othering and Belonging Institute, Alicia St. Laurent for keeping our team on track and organized throughout this entire project, Kemet Mawakana for his thoughtful work, Kristen Clements and Josh Ishimatsu for their extensive research on this and related policy work, Rosalind Huey and her support through this process, and our many community members who provided input over an 18-month stretch, and many others who were pulled in from time to time to help shape this important work. This concludes our presentation, and we're available for any questions you may have.
Thank you very much for your presentation, Rachel and Josh and Kemet. Good words, and truly words do matter, and I appreciate the changing the terminology of those two categories and eliminating the other one is a way that we can remove the stigmatization that occurs from the words and work to lift up those communities as well. So with that, let's go to the members of the public who have their hands raised. The first one is Kenneth.
Hello, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome, thank you. Good afternoon, Chair and committee members. My name is Kenneth Javier Rosales. I'm with SB at Home, and I'm a member of the nonprofit Racial Equity Action Leadership Coalition. I'm also a resident of District 3. I just would like to thank the many committee members here for dedicating their time and energy on this topic leading up to today. Our coalition wants the committee to adopt the Housing Department staff's proposed revisions to the Affordable Housing Society policy. We want to shift away from categorizing our communities by crime and poverty data so that we reach the original intent of the policy to spread affordable housing throughout all of San Jose. all while equitably investing in historically redlined communities. Housing that everyone can afford is the bedrock for creating resilient, self-sustaining, and thriving communities. It's really the starting point to righting the wrongs of our painful past that are still haunting us today. And it should be a choice. People who are raised in San Jose deserve the opportunity to continue to live where they grew up. For example, in a historically redlined neighborhood, which is why it's critical we pass a local preference policy as well that would work in tandem with the siting policy. They also deserve the opportunity to live in another part of the city if they so choose, such as historically inaccessible areas caused by segregation. We believe every person and neighborhood in San Jose must be seen as deserving, valuable, and worthy of investment. We appreciate staff's engagement with the community and the responsiveness to the concerns we raised. And we ask that the CED recommend the siting policy as it stands before you today. We now have the exciting opportunity to create a policy that is innovative, effective, and equitable. Thank you.
Thank you. Gabriel.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Great, thank you. Gabriel Hernandez, the director for the Si Se Puede Collective, and our 5 organizations are part of the Real Coalition as well. First, again, want to thank the housing department staff, the amount of work they do with all the different things that they've been on, and then on top of that, this siting policy. People don't remember that the original policy was called the dispersion policy, and that attempt is exactly that, right? To try and get affordable housing in all the districts and all the different neighborhoods so that people that are with a less income can have access to living in different neighborhoods. What I like about this policy is one, like you said, Councilmember Foley, language does matter and how our neighborhoods are described, especially to people who are not from San Jose. I think these labels are much more appropriate in terms of how the housing department has changed them. And then also the incentives, the different ways in which they're going to try and get developers to put affordable housing in places that have historically tried to keep them out. And so I think, using the carrot versus the stick is another appropriate way of getting developers to do the right thing and to expand that, housing, affordable housing throughout San Jose. And so I would ask that this committee, recommend those changes to the full city council for adoption. Thank you very much.
Paul Soto?
Yes, Paul Soto from the Horseshoe. And that's significant that I announced that. The reason why I announce that all the time is because I am D11 on that map. And that was the lowest designation on that map. So if you guys were really serious about ameliorating and amending these historical injustices that stem from that map, you would start in D11. But we can't do that anymore now, can we? Because now D11 got taken over by District 6. You see how this is just all it is? You guys are playing like some kind of con game and you think no one's watching. But I'm watching because for 5 years I've been at these meetings. So the only report that I'm impressed by is that which was given by Josh, because he has been consistent, very consistent, and very sensitive to what has happened in this city. So I want to thank him especially, and I respect what the report that you're given because it is accurate. Okay, but one thing that it did leave out is schools. Okay, because the treatment that the kids were getting in schools, they were getting abused inside the school districts. So it was much more than just census tracts and housing. It was also the school districts. And what they did is they tracked kids into vocational schools and didn't track them to college. Why? Because they knew that if they tracked these Mexican kids to college, and they were Mexicans, they were Chicanos. We weren't low-income people, we weren't people of color, we were Chicanos. And what they did is they tracked these kids so that they knew that generationally their parents would not become college graduates. And thus their offspring wouldn't become college graduates, which was an indicator of social and economic upward mobility. Okay, so that hasn't been talked about. If you want to ameliorate all these issues, I want every single house in the red line districts taxed at 1% of the equity that they're collecting now, because that money is blood money. It's racist money.
Blair Beekman.
Hi, Blair Beekman here. Thanks a lot for this item. It's got a lot, the letters to the public on this item has a lot of interesting good groups that are in support of this project. And I thought it was interesting in how San Jose housing staff, kind of like, you know, civic innovation technology staff, you're really, you're trying to address some interesting concepts at this time. And you're taking a real forward approach, what will be the future of these sort of issues and how we'll be talking about things. Thank you. That's, it's awesome for that. And it sounds like, you know, you're making your first steps to talk about mixed income ideas, and its good intentions and purposes and how it relates to our future of the community. MTC wanted to get mixed income housing programs going by 2029. And that meant they wanted to probably get started in about 2025 to get that started. I always try to talk about this now, so by 2024, 25, we can really be ready by then. And you're doing those steps now. Thank you. Good luck how you're addressing affordable housing. Thank you for offering extremely low income. Is it $35,000? A lot of people are living for less than under $35,000. So I need to change how I talk about this issue. As important as extremely low income ideas can be, thank you for that. And in the recent past, you know, you've tried different formulas and understandings of affordable housing ideas and equity and building a future of our communities together. It takes a real togetherness. It takes all parts of ourselves to want to accept some interesting new practices that are developing. I hope we do that. And we seem to be moving on past previous city government practices a bit. Good luck in working with
Matt King.
Hi, good afternoon. Matt King with Sacred Heart Community Service. I want to express my appreciation also to all the work that the housing team has done on this, and encourage the members of this committee to be supportive and pass the staff rec on to the full council next week. You know, we serve the entire county, but we are located on the line of District 3 and District 7. And we're fortunate that a few years ago, a permanent supportive housing place opened a couple blocks from us, and there's another 100% affordable building in the works, you know, 6 blocks from us. And these are good things in an area that is facing intense displacement pressure, in a neighborhood that has been changing rapidly over the last few years. And we recently got your support working with business owners on Kaye Willow to prevent their displacement of their small businesses there. And we have been supportive of a local preference policy. And we need all of these things to be working together. So we need more affordable housing in the areas around Sacred Heart, so people have the choice to stay if that's what they want to do. So there are customers for the small business and businesses owned by immigrants in Kaye Willow. And we need those same choices in every district in the city, so everybody, regardless of their income and ability to pay for housing, can live where they want to live. So once again, asking all of you to be supportive of what's coming from the staff today, and to unanimously recommend to the rest of your council colleagues to adopt this next week. Thank you.
Kira.
Hi, I'm Kira Kazantzis with Silicon Valley Council of Nonprofits, and I am a member of the Nonprofit Racial Equity Action Leadership Coalition, and I'm also a homeowner in District 3. I'm also speaking to urge you to adopt the Housing Department's staff's proposed revisions to the housing siting policy. We strongly support a policy that moves away from defining neighborhoods by crime and poverty data. The new policy does that, and it still accomplishes the intent of the original policy, which is to spread affordable housing throughout the city while not investing from historically disenfranchised communities. Needless to say, affordable housing is critically important to the many community members served by nonprofit organizations throughout San Jose, which is why SVCN has prioritized affordable housing as a top priority in our organizational advocacy and policy priorities. And as a former fair housing attorney, I especially want to voice my support for changes to the earlier language that really stereotyped lower income neighborhoods and communities of color. I think the new policy is going to ensure a meaningful opportunity for real housing choice for all throughout the city. We, like the other speakers before me, we really appreciate staff's engagement with the community and their responsiveness to the concerns we raised. And we ask that the CED committee recommend to council the citing policy as it stands before you today. Thank you.
Tina Morrell.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for your time. So I wanted to just tell you there's 3 things that I would like to see out of the final citing policy. I think that number 1, in the spirit of transparency for the community, and in the spirit of quote unquote words mattering, because they do, I believe that anytime the housing that goes up has a supportive component, it should include the words supportive housing, supportive affordable, or affordable supportive, or whatever, because affordable housing is an umbrella term. And supportive housing, the folks who live there are getting support as they should. And there, a lot of times there are potential issues that neighbors, they get upset about, and they need to see, the success that can happen. I look at the Casitas de Esperanza, which is very close to my house. It has become a neighborhood asset, and it is for our unhoused families, and it's working out great. But I think it needs to be called out if there is a supportive component. And that way that can trigger, maybe there is a community advisory group formation that works alongside the supportive housing component, the people who are running the programs. And then that way it's kind of a collaborative effort to make sure that people are getting what they need and neighbors are feeling, like their voices are heard too. I think also the citing policy needs to be a guidepost. That should be the intent, instead of just concentrating, the supportive affordable housing in one area.
Jaime Alvarado.
Afternoon, folks. Jaime Alvarado, co-chair of the Alum Rock Urban Village Advocates. Also a member of the Real Coalition. I want to take this in a couple areas. First of all, be clear, very supportive of this policy, the proposed policy changes. Staff has done a great job of really hearing our concerns. And so I just want to reiterate that the process has been good because we've been heard, and we appreciate that. The other thing I just want to take us back and kind of simplify this to remind us all in our conversations. We heard multiple times that people, when they talk about affordable housing, all of a sudden it sounds like we're talking about demons from some other part of the world, or some other world, or coming to live here. In fact, we're talking about housing just even for our own kids. Many of us have had the experience of having our kids having to move out of San Jose in order to be able to buy a house and start a career. My boy is in Arizona. My wife's son is in Texas, and that's super common. And what we're trying to do is create policies that can help our own kids stay in San Jose. The other thing that, like Tina was just talking about supportive housing, the other thing to keep in mind is, unfortunately, the reality is that there is a huge amount of drug abuse and addiction in our community and in our own families. And if that means that we can create housing to stabilize the lives of our own family members, I'm all for that. And so let's keep in mind that we're talking about housing for our own kids and for our own neighbors' kids. I want to also continue. I appreciate the change in direction so that we're talking about continued investment in areas like Alum Rock and the East Side and other parts of the city that historically have been underinvested. And so this continues to bring investment into our communities because to this date, we continue to be underinvested. Thank you.
Aaron Neff.
Hi. I'm the lead policy attorney for the housing program at the Law Foundation of Silicon Valley, where we represent people in the income bracket that the affordable housing siting policy is directed at, people who are low income and very extremely low income. We represent people at risk of eviction, and we also provide assistance to people who are unhoused. So we see firsthand every day how difficult it is for people in San Jose to find stable, affordable housing. So we're very much in support of this policy and really want to acknowledge the great work that the housing department has done in listening to the community and changing the factors that are being considered for the affordable housing siting policy. And one thing that I want to note in encouraging this committee to adopt the housing department's recommendations is that under the state guidance for affirmatively furthering fair housing, violence is not a factor to be used. Rather, the HCD's guidance on affirmatively further fair housing recognizes that Black and Brown communities are often over-policed and disproportionately represented in the carceral state, and stereotypes are what used to often characterize those areas as being violent. So indeed, removing that factor is necessary in order to affirmatively further fair housing. So we're really glad that the housing department has decided to do that and encourages this committee and the city council to adopt it with the violence factor removed. Thank you.
Rebecca Lazo.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Lazo. I am a community housing advocate for Law Foundation. First of all, thank you for the work you now focusing affordable housing, especially now that everything is becoming really, really expensive. But I would like to ask you also, maybe you can explore other areas or other possible solutions that will bring perhaps a permanent affordable housing, like I'm talking about COPA, Community Opportunity Purchase Act. The other thing also I would like to mention is for the other matter that I would like to ask you guys, ask city policy to talk is about for keeping affordable housing. And when you say mention and continuing investment areas, you talk, I hear you mention the program tax credit with investors. So maybe you should also explore about what kind of protection has those tenants who lives in those kind of apartment, affordable housing. Because right now, tenants that lives in affordable housing as built by investor like tech, they don't have any protection and rent increase, and those apartments are not affordable housing anymore. So it will be important also to explore those areas to keep those affordable housing, keeping affordable housing. Sorry, yeah, I'm repeating a lot, but those buildings don't have any protection when the investor decides to increase the rent. Thank you.
Back to the committee.
Thank you for those comments and thank you for the presentation. Calling on Councilmember Perales. You have your hand raised.
Yeah, thank you very much. Just wanted to say I appreciate the report and the work from staff. I think it's, I want to say maybe since late 2017 or 2018 that my office has been advocating and working on first what we call the dispersion policy, and then ultimately the siting policy now. But it's been a long time of work, and I know there's been a great amount of time and effort put in by the housing staff, and so I want to say thank you for that on the engagement with the community and quite frankly the involvement as well that we've had with community members and stakeholders and organizations that have helped us to craft what we've gotten today. I think there's been a real conscious effort to try and look at this and make sure that we've crafted a policy that is not going to have any negative ramifications, right? I think we sought out to do the right thing, which was to have a policy that actually helped to create opportunities for affordable housing in areas of our city where it was previously almost off limits, in essence. When you look at some of the maps, and this is beyond redlining, right? This was just through the basis of redlining, but essentially as we had developed out our city, places where we were not experiencing investment in affordable housing, and the city was not prioritizing it, and other areas of our city where we were over concentrating the development of affordable housing. And I think there's another component to it, but obviously it's kind of the second layer here, which is the fact that we've also underinvested in resources in particular parts of our city, and those tend to be the same. We've gotten to this point that we do have a policy that is really taken into account all the factors that I think it's needed to in order to really be fair and ensure that we can build and prioritize building in neighborhoods and parts of our community where we have not predominantly focused, but at the same time that we can also ensure that we are still able to build in parts of our community, for instance, areas where we know that are in jeopardy of being gentrified, where we've had historically lower income housing or affordable housing, and we're seeing maybe the investment now, areas in and around the Google development, for instance, right, that now all of a sudden become a target for investment in market rate housing. And so I know this has been a lot of work, and I just want to say thank you to the housing staff. I am comfortable with the recommendations as they stand, and will make a motion to approve these recommendations to be heard at the council. Thanks.
Second.
Thank you. And that includes cross-referencing to the December 6th council meeting?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Seeing no further hands raised, let's vote.
Carrasco,
Aye.
Peralez,
Yes.
Mahan, Esparza, and Foley.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. So concludes our meeting. It is time for open forum. This time is to discuss anything that is not on the agenda. Do we have any public comments?
Blair Beekman.
Hi, thank you. Thanks a lot for the meeting today. Good luck to really good stakeholders of the community who can really help with the previous item of housing issues. Thanks. In the past few years, the federal government has helped facilitate a massive increase in law enforcement and surveillance technology for local Bay Area governments. This country is also currently much contributing to the depression of a world at war, when obvious solutions of peace and dialogue have been presentable to all sides for years now in the Ukraine area, and towards a future that simply has to more openly consider a future of East and West Ukraine. As we have much in the past year worked to better understand current law enforcement, its technology, and its data questions, we need to be incredibly mindful how local Bay Area communities in this country can easily slip back into an era of 9/11 and using the practices of war, secrecy, and opacity as a norm in how to make decisions for a local community. The continuing ideas and efforts of reimagined health and human services, openness, and accountability practices can very much help in how to consider our local economy in terms of human rights and civil protections, and help to organize the steps of a good transition from 2023 into the positive ideas of 2024 and 25 and beyond that we are all hopeful for. I hope 2023 can be a year we can begin to learn to work better together and listen to each other. From this, creative, progressive, good ideas can more easily develop within a community. Good luck in the positive steps local government and everyday community can learn to make together in 2023. And just an overall thank you for all the work from all of us in the previous 8 years and what we are moving into our future. Good luck in the steps we will all be taking towards better understanding with each other. Thanks.
Paul Soto?
Yes, Paul Soto from the Horseshoe. Am I not confronted daily with the reality that the United States government, the county of Santa Clara, and the city of San Jose deprived me of something private that I had a constitutionally protected right to possess? Is this not violence towards the tens of thousands of Chicanos who grew up not speaking Spanish? Where is my just compensation for taking something as fundamental as language from the Chicano? San Jose redlined the Mexican, stripping him of ancestral wealth. Chicanos of my generation were burglarized, robbed, using the force of law and the fear of the policeman's club from wealth we normally would have inherited had the Chicanos' right to private property been respected. Does not the Chicano of my generation deserve equal protection under the law, due process, as we redress the historical injustices? San Jose stole from Chicanos the security of stability in these uncertain times of gentrification and cultural paradigm shifts that is heavily promoted by, we already know all the developers' names and the Downtown Association. Okay, so this is what we're talking about. This is the redlining savage policies, man, really discriminated against the kids. And as a result of it, I don't speak Spanish because of it. That's what it did to us. And it did that to tens of thousands of Chicanos. And you're still not addressing that. You are not addressing that, San Jose, and you need to, because you're going to be held to account for it. And the way that you hold to account is no longer allowing the Rose Garden or Willow Glen to continue to profit from these red line policies. I want Willow Glen taxed. That's what I want. I want the equity on their homes taxed at 2%. Every single home in a red line district taxed at 2%. And then let's see where people's racist attitudes are. Once you start going at
Back to the committee.
Thank you. This meeting is adjourned. Have a wonderful December. Our next meeting is in January. Thank you.